It's 3 p.m. You've got a mountain of tasks left, but your brain, well, it just clocked out. You see, I've been looking at the surveillance footage of your daily routine, and the truth is, you aren't lazy. You've been robbed. I'm stepping into your office right now with my magnifying glass to look at the evidence. I mean, just look at the scene. You're sitting there, scrolling through an email thread you've already read 4 times, while your cursor blinks mockingly on a blank document. Your eyes are heavy, your willpower is bankrupt. And let's be honest, that third cup of coffee, it's doing absolutely nothing but making your heart race while your mind stays stuck in the mud. I've seen this pattern before. It's a professional heist, executed with surgical precision. Most people call this the afternoon slump and assume it's just a personal flaw or, a lack of discipline. But as your investigator, I see the fingerprints of a much more sophisticated culprit. Your focus didn't just wander off. It was siphoned away, bit by bit, starting the moment you checked your phone before even getting out of bed. We're looking at a classic case of cognitive depletion. The crime didn't actually happen 10 minutes ago when you started craving a sugary snack. No, the heist was set in motion hours earlier. I'm going to reveal the culprit behind this energy heist and show you why your 3 p.m. slump is actually a crime committed while you thought you were being productive. We're going to trace the breadcrumbs back to your morning rituals and identify the biological triggers you've been accidentally pulling. I'm talking about decision fatigue and circadian misalignment, the invisible thieves that steal your high-performance hours before you even reach your desk. Stick with me, because by the end of this investigation, you'll have the blueprint to take your focus back and secure your mind against these energy thieves for good. Now, let's look at the first piece of evidence, your morning high-performance trap. All right, let's examine the victim profile. You see, you're not a slacker. On paper, in fact, you are the absolute gold standard of productivity. But look at the evidence left behind at your desk. 3 empty coffee cups, 14 open tabs, and a cursor blinking like a mocking heartbeat on a blank document. It's 3:02 p.m., and the high achiever I saw this morning, well, she's vanished. I see this pattern everywhere with high performers. You spend your morning crushing it, fueled by back-to-back meetings in this constant sense of urgency. But by mid-afternoon, the high-performance illusion simply shatters. Quietly, this is where the imposter syndrome creeps in, right? You start to question your own competence because you just can't understand how the same person who led a strategic briefing at 10 a.m. is now, honestly, struggling to compose a simple 3-sentence email. Naturally, you try to fight it. Sarcastically, you reach for that third cup of coffee or you scroll through your phone for a quick break that accidentally turns into 30 minutes of total brain rot. Listen, this isn't just standard tiredness. This is a systematic breakdown of your cognitive machinery. Your prefrontal cortex, the literal CEO of your brain, has essentially clocked out early, leaving the rest of your mind to wander aimlessly. This heist, and let's call it what it is costing you more than just professional output. It's stealing your peace of mind. You carry the guilt of these wasted hours home with you, which means you're never truly off the clock. You're physically present at dinner, sure, but mentally, well, you're still staring at that unfinished to-do list. So, we have to ask the Sherlock question. Why does your brain choose this specific hour to betray you? Is it a flaw in your biology, or is there a specific trigger you're pulling without even realizing it? Well, the answer lies in a hidden biological rhythm that most professionals are currently weaponizing against themselves. But, as I dug deeper into the data, I found one piece of evidence that suggests your lunch break might actually be the crime scene we need to investigate next. Well, if we look at the evidence objectively, the crime scene isn't actually at 3 p.m. That's just when the body finally reports the theft, To find the real culprit, we have to rewind the tape, all the way back to 8 a.m. Think of your morning as a bank account. Casual, You start the day with a clean slate, but from the moment you send that first email or even just skim your project management dashboard, you are burning capital. You see, your brain isn't just tired. It is suffering from a massive, and I mean massive, accumulation of a neurotransmitter called adenosine. Think of adenosine as the chemical exhaust of your brain's metabolism, right? Every single time you fire a neuron to make a decision, a little bit of this exhaust is released. At 8 a.m., your levels are at baseline, direct, but by 10 a.m., you're hitting your stride, knocking out those high-value tasks and doing what we call heavy cognitive lifting. This is where the heist starts. You're burning through your glucose and flooding your system with so much activity that the adenosine starts to pile up in the synaptic space. Now, most people mistake this for productivity. Warning, you feel like you're in the zone, but you're actually creating a debt that your afternoon self simply cannot pay. Analytically, you are essentially front-loading your day with so much executive function, so many micro-decisions, that by the time you reach mid-afternoon, your prefrontal cortex is effectively offline. We call this decision fatigue. We've been conditioned to treat this with coffee, right? Hoping to mask the symptoms. But here's the problem. Caffeine doesn't actually remove the adenosine. It just blocks the receptors. It's like putting a piece of black tape over the check engine light on your dashboard. You aren't fixing the car, you're just pretending the engine isn't smoking. You're ignoring the ultradian rhythm, the body's natural cycle of energy that dictates high performance windows and recovery phases. Look, your biology isn't broken, and it's certainly not failing you. Reasoning, it's just trying to follow a biological clock while you force it to keep working on a corporate one.
But here is where the plot thickens. If the morning is the build-up, then the lunch hour is the cover-up. And if you think your midday break is actually helping you recharge, well, I have some data that might change your entire perspective on how you structure your day. There was one specific error you were making during that hour that turns a manageable afternoon into a total collapse. And honestly, it's the detail, the tiny little detail everyone keeps missing. It's time, finally, to raid the culprit's hideout. Look, we're deploying a 3-step protocol to stop this energy heist once and for all. Authoritative. Think of this as your tactical counter-operation, right? See, you wouldn't send a detective to a high-stakes crime scene without a plan, so I don't want you sending your brain into the afternoon without one. Analytical. Step 1 of our protocol is the energy audit. Observant, I want you to look closely at your lunch because, well, this is often where the sabotage begins. Warning, when you consume those glucose-spiking carbs, the heavy pastas or those sugary grab-and-go snacks, you're essentially handing the thief the keys to your office. Knowing that massive insulin crash that follows, it leaves you sluggish and frankly mentally bankrupt by 3 p.m. Decisive. Instead, I want you to swap those out for high-protein brain fuel. Steady. Think healthy fats and clean proteins that provide a slow, steady burn. Firm. We're looking for sustained energy, not some flash-in-the-pan spike that leaves you stranded. Moving forward. Next, we implement Step 2, the 10-minute tactical reset. Insightful. See, by 2 p.m., the chemical fog of adenosine, that byproduct of being awake, is starting to hit critical mass in your system. Commanding. Instead of fighting it with more caffeine, which only masks the problem, by the way, I want you to clear the air. Gentle but firm. Take 10 minutes for non-sleep deep rest, or NSDR, or even just a tech-free walk around the block. Rational. You're giving your prefrontal cortex a chance to recalibrate before the 3 p.m. danger zone hits. Assertive. It's a literal reset for your neural processing speed. Strategic. Finally, we're changing how you schedule your investigations. Direct. I want you front-loading your hardest, most cognitive-heavy tasks to your peak morning hours. Confident. This is when your brain's detective work is at its sharpest, right? Pragmatic. Leave the low-stakes admin, the emails, and the filing for the afternoon. Calculated. By the time 3 p.m. rolls around, you should be doing the tasks that require the least amount of willpower currency. Intrigued. But even with this tactical plan in place, there's a deeper level to this mystery. Whispering. While you're fixing your fuel and your timing, there is a silent partner in this heist, a psychological trap that most high performers fall into without even realizing it. Serious, it's an invisible drain on your mental battery that has nothing to do with what you eat or when you rest. Graver. And if you don't identify it, well, even the best protocol won't save your focus. That silent partner? It's something I like to call decision fatigue overdrive. You see, high performers like you, and I've seen this 1,000 times, often fall into the trap of believing that willpower is an infinite resource. Confident, you think because you're disciplined, you can simply power through the 3 p.m. slump by sheer force of personality. Measured, but the evidence, it suggests otherwise.
Every micro decision you make throughout the morning, from which email to draft first to how you word a specific request, chips away at your cognitive reserves. By the time the afternoon hits, your brain isn't just tired. You know it's literally gasping for air because you've exhausted your executive function. The investigation is complete. You're not lazy. You were just working against your own biology. When you implement this tactical reset, shifting those high-demand tasks to your peak alertness windows and protecting your downtime, you're not just finishing your work, you're gaining control. You're getting your life back so you don't spend your entire evening just recovering from the day. You deserve to leave your desk with your mental capacity intact, right? Ready to enjoy your personal life rather than being a shell of yourself until dinner. The data is clear. Your productivity isn't a measure of your worth, but a result of how well you manage your internal systems. If you're ready to stop the energy heist for good and master the science behind your daily performance, hit that subscribe button and join our unit of high-performance decoders here at Power of Mindset. What's the one task you're going to move to your morning tomorrow to protect your afternoon? Let me know in the comments below. I'll see you in the next investigation. Case closed.